Hi my Stampin' friends, I'm Sandra at artypapercrafters.com and today's project is this one, and it's some little cards that I've created using the stamp set called Mediterranean Moments. This is a Stampin' Up stamp set, so you get 4 images in the set. That is rather a large one. And then you get 3 other images, so you get 4 images in the set. Rather fun, reminds me of all my Italian holidays, one of the reasons why I brought it. And you can see here that I've stamped that big stamp. I've coloured it in with all my blends, and then I've layered it onto a piece of Coastal Cabana, stamped another little image in the inside. Layered it on a piece of Coastal Cabana and a piece of crumb cake, and then I had this border from something else that I had cut out for another project in Poppy Parade, and I thought that that would layer up nicely, so I've layered that on my card with some of the long sticky dimensionals, and just put a note on there using the very smallest rectangle stitched frame. And this was created using the rectangle stitched frames, which I cut one out for layering on some other project, and I thought that that would make a nice little border, and it frames perfectly that image. So that's how I created that one. And then the other image is the little table with a little recipe board, or you know what meals the restaurant's doing, and I coloured that. I used the Garden Impressions, I think it is, DSP, and I used some of the cards, the colours from there, and used my stamping blends to pick out the colours and the details in there using my oval stitched die, and layered it on a piece of So Saffron. And I think that looks rather cute, and I've just put a sentiment thank you on there. And then on the inside here I've just put that little cat on the chair. This one here I've used the cat on the chair, and another piece of that DSP with flowers. I've picked the same colours out of there and popped them in this image here, coloured them with my Stampin' blends, and it's another thank you. So we are now going to use the very last image, which is this one here. This is an image of a door with a Vespa, Vespa scooter, very cute. And we're going to stamp that on another rectangle square. So to make this card, you're going to need a piece of thick Whisper white cardstock, and UK measurements will be 11 3/4 by 5 3/4, scored at 5 3/4 on the long side. If you have the American cardstock, that will be 11 by 5 1/2, scored at 5 1/2, which in centimetres is 29.105, and in centimetres for the long part will be 29 by 10.5, which I've just said, scored at 14.5. Then I've got a piece of the Gala Gingham DSP. This is Calypso Coral. This measures 2 3/4 by 5 3/4, which is 14.5 by 7 centimetres. And for the American dimensions, it will be 5 1/2 by 2 3/8, and that layers on there. Then I've got a Poppy Parade stitched shape, which measures 3 3/4 by 2 1/4, and in centimetres that is 9 by 5.5. And I have a rectangle that we're going to stamp on now in thick Whisper white, which measures 1 3/4 by 3 1/4, which is 8 by 4.5. So let's get on with our stamping. We're going to use some black Memento ink to stamp our image. So ink up our stamp. think that's inked up. And then we're going to stamp our image straight down on here. Like that. And up. Perfect. Love it. Right. Now we're going to leave that to dry for a few seconds before we colour that with our Stampin' blends. So in the meantime, while that's drying a bit, we're going to fold our cardstock in half, and then we're going to layer our DSP on the top. So what have I done with my wet glue? There it is. So a little layer of glue on our DSP. And I've used the smaller squares side. Line that up in about the middle. Equal distance, and then we're going to put that on here in a moment on some dimensionals. So let's get some dimensionals and prep that up ahead of time. Wow, certainly got some here. That's it, and we'll layer that up in a moment on here. I just get the, let's bring you down a bit so that you can see me colouring this in. Now today I've got my Stampin' markers and I am using the colours light Calypso Coral, dark Calypso Coral, dark Petal Pink, light Granny Apple Green, dark Granny Apple Green, for a bit of contrast on the greenery, dark Old Olive, light Pool Party and dark Pool Party. And we're going to start off with the greenery. So I'm going to get all three colours and I'm going to lay down the darkest colour first. So there's some greenery on here and I'm just going to lay some splodges down on there, all over where the greenery is. And then we're going to lay a bit of this down, the dark Granny Apple Green. And then I'm going to finish that off with the light Granny Apple Green, and I'm now going to blend all those colours together so that we get lots of good shading on there. So that's my green, and then I'm going to use the Calypso Coral, and for that I'm going to colour in these little shutters for the windows. So let's do that. Just put down some dark where you think the dark would be, usually on the inside parts. And then I'm going to have a little bit of that same shading over this archway, so laying down a bit of dark across there. And I've got these little frames here which I'm going to colour in, and then I'm going to blend that all in with my light Calypso coral. And then I'm going to just blend the window frame in with that same colour as well, but just the light, so that we've got a bit of contrast going on. Same over the arch here. Just a little bit, and then I've got the thin nib end to just go over these little, I suppose you could call them like a frame for glass. That's what I would probably call them. Colour that in, and then I'm just going to put this light one down for my door. Bring you down a bit more, as much as I can. Right, and now I'm going to use this petal pink, dark petal pink, and I'm going to just shade that in to the light Calypso coral. So you can blend your colours together. You don't just have to stick to the one colour. You don't just have to use light and dark together. You can blend them with other shades. So just do your little doorway. And blend that in. And then what I'm going to do for the little door knocker pieces is just colour those in with a darker shade, just so that they stand out a bit. And then I'm going to colour this little stand with the dark Calypso coral I'm going to use for that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue that greenery up to the edge. And then my little tubs, my pots of greenery, are going to be dark. So that they stand out. And then I'm going to do my little Vesper in Pool Party. So using the dark first, I'm just going to do some of this shading with the dark. I'm not quite sure what colours Vespers would be, but this is a bit of artistic license on my part. and shade that in with the light Pool Party. Coming on, and then I think that probably for the wheels we're going to use crumb cake. I think this is crumb cake, light and dark crumb cake, so I'm just going to put a bit of the dark one down on the wheel, just a touch, and then my light one to just blend that in on the wheel. Like that, and then I'm going to do my seat in light crumb cake as well as, and then the little light at the front, well, I think that's probably got to be yellow, so we're going to put that in yellow, and I'm going to put the little wing mirror there in yellow, and I'm going to have my handlebars yellow as well. So that's that. That's my little Vespa done. And then for the floor part, I'm going to use my grey. So I've got my light smoky slate. So we're just going to lay down some of that on here. And then I'm going to use my colour lifter to just lift some of that colour away and blend it lighter. Like that. And to finish, I'm just going to use, where's my light petal? I'm just going to finish and make the wall light petal pink because I want that contrast. Because in the Mediterranean they do have bright colours for walls, so that's my artistic license on that. And I think that's good for that. And to just give that little bit more detail, I'm just going to add some dark in little areas where the Memento ink has stamped it darker. Just going to put some little areas like that. And then back with my petal pink to just blend that into the rest of it. Now you may have different ways of colouring. This is my way of colouring. What colour can we do the curtains? I'm going to do the curtains in Pool Party so that the Pool Party is throughout my design. So my curtains are going to be blue. And then I think that that completes it. So yes, I have got a lot of Stampin' Right markers. You can use whatever markers you have to colour yours in, and that's what the finished design looks like. Cute, I think. Very cute. So what we need to do now is I just realised probably through my shutters you would see the lighter colour, wouldn't you, coming through. So I'm going to just put that through there to just finish that off. That's it. Right, let's layer it all up now onto our card like that, and you can see that on that piece of Poppy Parade that really makes that design really pop and stand out. So let's glue that down, and don't worry about your Stampin' Right markers bleeding through to the back of your thick whisper white, because it doesn't show once you've layered it onto your card. So layer that on there with a good little border behind, and then take the backings off your dimensionals. That's it. And stick that on your card. Now I'm sticking this up the top here because I want to add a sentiment like that. That looks good. And we need a sentiment across here, and I'm just going to go off and find a sentiment because I'm not sure which one I want. Let's see. I think I'm just going to use Happy Birthday, and maybe that'll punch out. Happy Birthday. Where's my rectangle shapes gone? Here they are. So here's my rectangle shapes, and I always keep any spares that I've got in a container here. And I'm just looking to see if I've got a small one, and I have, that can go across there. Perfect. Brilliant, these rectangle shapes. So many in the pack. So many. Love them. Right, so we're going to use the piece of cake, and we're going to stamp Happy Birthday, which is just here. So I'll just get my block. What have I done with my block? I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Got it. It's right in front of my eyes. Right, so line that up on your block, and I'm going to stamp this in Poppy Parade to match the colours of this. That will stand out nicely. So Poppy Parade, Happy Birthday. Stamp that right in the middle. Hope that's straight. Hope I didn't get my head in the camera. Don't think I did. Happy Birthday, that's perfect. That's going on there. Now you could, if you wanted to, layer it up on another piece of card. I'm not going to today, but I am going to probably pop it on some dimensionals. So let's get small dimensionals, some of these mini ones, onto the back here, and we're going to use 3. Take the backings off those. Line that up, put that on there straight. I think that's straight. And that is our finished design. And of course you can stamp whatever you want in there. I'm not going to today because I don't know quite what sentiment I would want in the middle there. So I'm going to leave that today. But these are all the cards that I've made, and I think you'll agree that they are pretty special, all made with that same stamp set. Really quirky designs that you can use your Memento ink and your Stampin' blends on. I hope you've enjoyed this project. If so, please give me a thumbs up and a like and a share. All the details and measurements will be on my website, so click on the down arrow description bar in the bottom right hand corner, and then that will take you over to my website, where you may like to subscribe to my blog. If you wish to purchase any Stampin' Up products, I have an online Stampin' Up shop on my website, should you wish to purchase any of these items today. So that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back in a few days with another project. Bye for now. Bye.